Since I love piling on the projects for winter time, I've got another one in mind here. This is another Bastard Junior, so this one is going to be called the ODB2 because we have over here the first build. So honestly, out of all my rigs that I have right now, I would say the Bastard Junior is probably one of my favorites to drive and also to wrench on because it's a mix of classic crawler parts from maybe 2007, 2008, and much more recent crawler parts from, let's say, 2 years ago. And it has lots of clearance. This one has portals, just really, you know, there's not a lot of rig to the center. It's all meat and potatoes, if you will. So since I have multiples of these chassis, I'd like to build another. But this time, I'm gonna go a little different. I would like to use the F10 axles from Vanquish because they are a little bit narrower. And it's not like this is too wide, really. I think it's close to being right. But the camper axles really are technically a 2.2 axle and these are 1.9s. And I want it just, I mean, like that much narrower. And I can't go any narrower. We're already using the most interior dished hubs that we can and the smallest width of spacers that we can, and it's rubbing already. You can see these voodoos are starting to get some rub marks, and over time it's just going to rub them into oblivion. So on this rig, I'm probably going to end up putting the new voodoos that came out, the new KLRs, KLR2s, because they're narrower. It's not going to rub. I'll have pretty much the same height, the same clearance on this rig, but it'll keep me from rubbing. So then I can change these tires over to this rig potentially, or use some other ones. We've got all kinds of options these days. So let's walk over to the storefront here and we will pick up some stuff. I feel like I need a coat and a jacket and change my shoes. And so I've been kind of collecting some parts over here. These are the F10 axles. This is the aluminum portal housing from Vanquish. We're gonna just pick up one of those. I think I would like a set of their brass portal covers for the front. Yeah, we'll just pick up a pair of those from the store. Just ring me up here. I'm guessing that I got the right size links. We won't know, but I got a couple of 100 millimeters here. We got the tie rod. We need a tie rod, of course. Hopefully I got 2 tie rods because I would like to do this 4-wheel steering. Let's see, another set of 100 millimeter links. We've got some more hubs. We don't need those yet. Let's see, 120 millimeter links. Yep, we'll probably need those too. Got some ball ends, some of their hard ball ends, just one package of those. Yeah, we'll add that to the checkout. It'd be kind of funny to have a scanner, boop. We have one in there for shipping. Hey, look, another tie rod, excellent. I got 2 tie rods. There we go, we'll add that. Another set of 120 millimeter titanium links, I think. Yep, we need that. We'll set our hubs, whoops, on the floor. That's where we're gonna set them, yep. Hey. What's really cool is that Vanquish now sells these complete kits, and these are actually plastic molded housings that hide nylon, slight glass content. Complete axles here, and this was and, you know, it comes with ring and pinion and you know, locker shafts, everything. This is a ready to go axle, and it's there we go, F10 portal front axle set. I'm gonna need one of these, and since I want 4-wheel steering, I'm going to need another one of those. Looks like somebody was thinking ahead. Here we go, another F10 portal front axle set. Now I'm only gonna install the aluminum on the front for weight bias, and then we'll have the plastic on the rear so that it slides better, because it's usually the rear that gets hung up anyways. There we go, we got that. And I did pick up an extra rear axle set for the F10. And maybe I'll change my mind about doing 4-wheel steering, because honestly, I don't have a radio that's set up for it very well. I guess my Fly Sky does have a setting for the 4-wheel steering, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and build up, assuming 4-wheel steering on here, and I can always just build this axle later. So there we go. The other parts we don't need yet. I have plenty of shocks for that, but we're not gonna be there yet. We'll need to build this up. All right. every time I hear Mr. Rogers in my head walking back and forth. Even when I'm not on camera, it's kind of funny. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I mean, when you're building something like this, of course it is. All right, so the links and all that, I'll probably build afterwards. I'll want these for the front axle set. We've already got links on this. We already have our transmission, our skid plate, etc. This is compatible with SCX10 skid plates, all the AX10, SCX10 platform type stuff. I wish it was compatible with the Vanquish skid plates, but it's just slightly off. And I guess I could hack this lower plate on and weld a new one to do a different skid plate, I suppose. But that's maybe a little more work on this one. I have another one that I could do that to as well. So we're just gonna start. Well, I still have a couple of old parts in here from the last build. I feel like I'll grab a fresh disc. Be right back. 1 moment, please. I have another parts tray. This one is a 175 gram Aviar, KC Pro Aviar. These actually have the, what's it called, like a bead? I think that's what they call it, a bead along the edge, as opposed to most of the discs that I like to throw. I mean, parts trays that I like to set on the table, which are beadless. But yeah, fun disc. Nice plastic. Parts tray. So we'll just do a little bit of building here. Gonna potentially put together. I gave away my knife over here. So we use these body shears that are probably too worn out and dull for plastic bag. There we go. No, they still work. No, I got it. These are sharp enough. There we are. Perfect. And now we have a little trash bag. Oh, I will need tools. Yeah, these look like sizes of tools that we would use. Indeed. There we go. I suppose I will need to wait until they release the motor on axle mounts. Vanquish does have motor on axle mounts coming for this. And all right, there's all of that stuff. I love the really hard plastic. I can just like knock it off the tree. There's all of our gears. Here's all of our interior parts. Now on the plastic housing, you have these brass tubes that add weight and a little bit of stiffness, but they're not compatible with the aluminum housings, unfortunately. I always like to get slightly organized before I start. Maybe not too organized. Yeah. Now, if you are going to use a disc-off disc for your parts, you might want to lay down a paper towel or something for all the metal bits, because there will be a little bit of grease that transfers. Not ideal for a disc that you're actually going to be playing with, or just use an old disc that you don't play with. Like this one that just sits around the shop for the past 5 years. Yeah. Now, I suppose I could look at the instructions for this, but I've already built one of these axles twice. I totally need to read the instructions. I'll put the wrong length of screws into the wrong places. I just know it. It's kind of cool, though, that they can fit instructions for the full axle just on one sheet like this. All right, they suggest that we start with the carrier, ring and pinion carrier. Yes, Loctite. Very important. Boop. All right, so we're gonna pan for a little gold here, get our screws all out. Now, the cool thing about these instructions is they do have little representations of the actual screws that you're using, so you can say, hey, is that the right one? Yep, that's the right one. Thread lock, yeah, it even tells you on the package, on the instructions. Look at that. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and where's 6? Where's 6 hiding? There's 6. 6 screws. You can tell that I grew up watching Sesame Street. How about you? Did you grow up watching The Count? There's some pretty good jokes about The Count. I just can't remember them at the time, so you're gonna have to help me out in the comments if you remember any Count jokes. There we are. And I'll probably just put these in by hand at first. There we go. Ooh, I must say, it's a little warm in this shop right now, even though it's been getting down to the 40s and 30s overnight. The heaters that I've been running, if you watch the channel, you know exactly which heaters that I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say it because they're just heaters at this point. They work really well. We actually shut it down for noise reasons, at least in this moment. And we've got the doors open. Now it is going to get up to like 68 today, which is seemingly maybe a bit warm for November. How's the weather in your area doing? Is it seemingly warm? Maybe you're closer to the South Pole. Maybe you're down in Australia and it is getting warmer instead of colder. All right, time to whip out the wrenches because they're getting in the way of themselves. Going through and loosely tightening these, because if you tighten them all the way, then the rest of them can be really tough to get in. So I want to make sure that they're all buried first. Oh yeah, and we'll get one more tool, just one more tool. The one tool that I said that I would never use that has come in so handy. My shock pliers. There we go. All right, we're going to do this like a mechanic. Crisscross applesauce? I don't know. What do mechanics say? Maybe. And just, yeah, I would say maybe a full ugga-dugga on these, even though they are kind of tiny screws. And then I go through once more, make sure they're all seated, because as you seat them in, it'll generally take some tension off the neighboring screw heads. So do it twice. Crisscross applesauce. If you got kids, you know what that means, or you probably do, I guess. All right, we did that. That's what the instructions called for. All right, 7 by 14 by 3.5 millimeter bearing. It looks like this probably. Yep, that's probably it. It looks like that. It fits. It is that. Boop, and then boop, and then a boop. It is amazing over the years the engineering changes that these axles have gone under, and the way that the bearings are now carried in different ways, and having these bearing carriers that kind of float inside the axle, and these even have plastic blocks to them. And even with plastic blocks, they still carry such a higher power as compared to the older stuff that we used to do, which is amazing, simply amazing. Now, with a portal axle rig, of course, you have less torque load on your ring and pinion because you can get more gear down past the ring and pinion. So higher RPM, less torque, same power at the wheel, same torque at the wheel. So really cool that we can get away with plastic right here. If you're running super high power, maybe you'd want to go with aluminum ones. They're extremely inexpensive to buy. The aluminum aftermarket ones, of course, they do offer them, but just really cool. Really cool to me, at least. All right, we put it together. We did that. We did that. Now we do this, and I'll need some grease. All right, is it this one? It is not that one. Hot dog in the hallway. So the interior is the larger 5x14. I believe that's the interior. Yep. And then our exterior is the 5x11, and this should be the 5x11. Look at there, looking like it. Throw that into the axle. Rubber shielded on the outside. That is not the right one. That is the right one. Pretty straightforward. And then bolts all together. Cool. You got to put it in the proper way though. All right, 830. I believe 833 would be our underdrive gear set, which I don't believe that I bought. But for this rig, we'll start out with the stock gearing on everything, and it'll probably be too slow anyways because the original transmissions were built for straight axles, and these have a lot more gear down to them. You know, going from like a 3.8 to 1 to like a 7.1 or something. I'd have to look. But at any rate, more gear ratio than what we used to have. All right, no, that's a little long. We need a little shorter than that, and 4 of them. Well, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 10 millimeter. Yeah. Well, that's all we got. These look to be maybe a millimeter longer, but I'm going to trust, since they're the only 4 available, that they're what we need. That is not what we need. This. There we go. We're just going to get these started first. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Right here. I never liked that song.
What about the original version, the censored version?
Oh?
R-word?
I never heard that one, I think. There's evidently a censored version that I never heard. Because, I don't know, it wouldn't be on the radio and I'd never seek that song anyways. What? R-word? What's an R? I gotta think here.
Instead of started.
Started? Let's get it. Let's get it.
No, let's get it.
Oh, that R word. Regarded.
Very close.
Let's get regarded in here. Let's get
Restarted.
restarted. Well, that's a pretty good clean version change, I suppose. All right, we're gonna need grease in this before I put it away, so I may have to steal some grease from one of my other kits. That's what we're gonna do. Got this old VRD over there that I also need to finish because, you know, starting new projects. That's what I like to do before I'm finished with any of them. All right, so 8 divided by 30, it is an even number divided by an even number, so we want to make sure that we do get grease on every single tooth, because it is not guaranteed that it would spread completely. Since both of them are an even tooth count, you end up having essentially a harmonic of mesh, and it just doesn't always spread very well. If it's an odd number and an even number, you don't have a harmonic, and you can essentially just spread like one glob across a little bit of the ring or the pinion, and it will spread everywhere on its own. Just a completely useless tip there, but something that I always pay attention to when I'm greasing a ring and pinion or any other gear set if it needs it. All right, so I'm gonna use this aluminum axle here. And I suppose I could put the unused parts in here. All right, so I'm looking at this. this, I do want to make sure that we have all of our mount points, because I hear, yeah, we're missing one right there. I hear that there might be a future change in their aluminum housings because of the servo on axle mount. So we'll see. I may change some parts, but I'm sure it'll be strong enough just mounted with 2 points. Without the servo on axle mount though, I can't actually put all this together, can I? All right, so that means I'm at a stopping point right now. I don't want to go further just because it's going to put me into a pickle where I need to reverse. So what I'm going to do is we are going to just slip this in like so, just to keep grease from getting all over everything. And then I'm going to rebag these parts. Yes, sir. And I shall either order or talk to Vanquish about the servo on axle mount, see how long it's going to be before it comes out. Because right now it's only available in the VRD kit. I guess I could steal my axle from the VRD, but I don't want to do that yet. I don't want to do that for this project. No. So we're going to do that, and then we will pick this back up at a later date. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.